you grew up in Bed-Stuy.
Right. I grew up in the Stuy and also in Far Rockaway, Queens, Edgemere Projects. You know, then I moved to Marcy after that. So yeah.
Marcy Projects.
Yeah.
The infamous, you know, the projects that Jay-Z made famous.
Right. The project that Jay-Z made famous, you know, Memphis Bleak, Source Money, you know, and G to K, man.
Yep, absolutely. Now what was it like growing up in that kind of environment?
For me it was great, you know what I'm saying? Like you know, it was a lot of wild nights, not a lot of crazy nights, but at the same time, it was fun and exciting for us, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, it might be ignorant to some people, but that's all we knew, you know what I'm saying? So the nights when it was exciting was, you know, when shit was going on and happening, that's when we like had the most fun, you know, to be honest.
Now your parents kind of had this interesting kind of dichotomy where
Right.
your mom got her master's degree,
Right.
but your dad was on drugs and
Right.
ultimately ended up dying of AIDS.
Right. Yeah. You know, that's one thing that's like, you know, it's one of them ill things, man. Why, you know, you can't really explain it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when people have kids and then, you know, a dude at one point in time, you know, I look at old pictures of like my pops and stuff like that, and I see it and it's like, dang, he was the man at that time. You know what I'm saying? But then you get caught up. You know, I think what happened to him was he went to like Vietnam and stuff like that. And then, if anybody knows anybody that was in that war, you know, the opium was at an all-time high there. You know what I'm saying? So you was able to get dope easy. You know what I'm saying? So at that point in time, that especially, you know, when if anybody remembers that war as well, we were losing in that war. It was a lot of death, a lot of casualties. So you didn't really even, that was your only escape mechanism for being there. You know what I'm saying? So you started getting high, and then, you know, he came back, and I think, like my mother told me one time that, like, his brothers started getting high. And I think he actually caught AIDS from his own brother.
From a sharing of the needle?
Sharing the needle. Yeah.
Okay, so he was doing heroin?
Heroin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a hell of a drug, man.
Yo.
People say cocaine's a hell of a drug, heroin is a hell of a drug.
It's one of the most nastiest drugs in the world. I could never sell heroin to nobody. I don't give a fuck how much money it would bring. I couldn't do it because it's like, yo, man, the deterioration of that joint is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you seeing the dude really wither away, you know? So fucking the mouth start changing. We starting to see the drooping of the mouth and all that kind of stuff, man. That joint is nasty.
What was it like seeing your dad die of AIDS? Because that's one of those really, really difficult diseases, you know, and especially having someone so close to you go through that.
Right.
Like, what was that like with you?
It was extremely difficult because at the time I didn't understand it, you know, because like, you know, being a kid and, you know, just, you know, at one point in time going to see my father and then maybe like the next week after that getting a phone call that he was in the hospital, and then the next day or so it was like he was dead. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really even understand, like, you know, what really went on until I got a little older and it was explained to me, you know, and then I even seen further that my uncle, they all had alcoholic problems. You know what I'm saying? They was all, you know, alcoholism ran inside their family as well. You know, so it was even crazy. At one time I was coming from the temple, you know what I'm saying? Because I was born and raised a Hebrew Israelite. So I was coming from the temple and it was pouring down rain, and I actually seen my uncle dead on a front of a bank they used to hang in front of in Brownsville and Chase Bank. Yeah. So yeah, it was really that their whole family is really wicked over there, bro. Like I don't know, they got them demons.
So when you say you think he got it from one of your uncles, so one of your uncles had AIDS also?
Yes, he had AIDS also. From the same way, you know, messing with that heroin, you know what I'm saying? And they was sharing needles. So yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know, be safe out there.
Definitely, man. You have to be.
Have to be. So you had mentioned in some other interviews that
right.
you started getting involved in the streets and so forth. Like, what age, you know, did you really start getting into that shit?
Yeah, man. Like, I got into the streets when I was maybe like, you know, 15. You know what I'm saying? Like 15. You know what I'm saying? It was really more because like my homie, my homie Mike, you know what I'm saying, God bless his dad, he had an issue, you know what I'm saying, in his crib. And he was like, you know, we trying to, you know, wanted to get some money, and we ain't know no other way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you could try to go get a little McDonald job, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, we had aspirations for wanting other things, you know what I'm saying? We wanted to, like, you know, be cool and shit like that. So he came to me like, yo, we just need some money to get up an 8-ball and stuff like that. So, you know, you know, being that my father died and he was in the Army, at one time I was left a little bit of money, you know, I used to get every month. So I took that money, you know, a little $300 that they used to give me. I took that money and bought us 2 8-balls with that. And then, you know, we just start rocking out from there, you know. But then I also seen like later on they got him killed, you know what I'm saying? Like not that per se, but just being involved so much, it just ended up getting him killed at a very young age, you know what I'm saying? R.P. Little
Right.
Mike.
You said like your best friend got killed when you guys were 15.
Yeah. Yeah, he died, man, and it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? He died, you know, doing what we normally do, you know, getting it on, we fighting and stuff like that. You know, and the dude just happened to stab him in his chest during the midst of the fight. We didn't even know. So yeah.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
Sad.
Yeah, definitely.
Sad to be 15. You know, if you think about all the shit you've done since 15, like you didn't get to do any of that shit.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's even now. You know, I wish he was able to witness what's going on now. You know, or sometimes I really feel like, you know, if I would have figured something out then, you know what I'm saying, it would, you know, could have been different for us at that time. But we just didn't know any better. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know any better. We didn't know no other ways to hustle and to get actual money. Like, you know, I always had this conversation with people, and they always say things like, you know, y'all killing each other, or y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all in the streets, but y'all killing each other. Y'all doing this to one another. And it's like, nobody's killing for the sake of killing. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's selling drugs for the sake of selling drugs. You know what I mean? It's all about the fact that, you know, we need money out here, man, and we struggling. And it's like, we don't know no legit ways to really get no bread, right? Because if you even look at it right now, you know, people that having these McDonald jobs and they want $15 an hour, and you got millionaires and billionaires telling them no. It's like, why is a millionaire and a billionaire worrying about a man getting $15 an hour? It's like, come on, G. Like, God damn. You worried about his little $600
it's not
a week?
one man getting $15 an hour. It's hundreds of thousands of people getting $15 an hour.
No, I understand that.
You having to maintain a bottom line.
Yeah, I understand that. But see, this is the thing. Now, if you look at it from a standpoint that, okay, these stores sometimes are doing $10,000 a day. You know what I'm saying? And that all even depends on where you at. You might be even doing greater. One owner may have 10 McDonald's. He may have 10 of them shits. And it's like you worrying about a dude getting $15, about people getting 15 to get, where you getting hundreds of thousands, you going home, this man can't even live, especially like if you're in New York. Like if you're in New York City, you can't live off that McDonald's check. Like you can't get an apartment with that.
Okay, but you know, as a business owner,
no, I understand why you
entrepreneur and someone who's worked,
right,
you know, at pizza places and delis
right,
and so forth, what you have to realize, and this is, I'm not speaking to you, I'm speaking to everyone.
No, everybody,
there's
yeah,
a lot of people that watch this, is that if you feel frustrated over how little money you're making, it's because the skill set you have probably deserves that amount of money. You need to have a skill set that brings in more money. You need to educate yourself and learn something where you could demand $100 an hour or even $1,000.
No, I agree. I agree with that. But you know, it's just a thing where we live in a country where, like I said, where we have people that is super rich, and then you have people super poor, and then you have the person that's super rich arguing with a person about him being super poor, and then he would say to him, well, you got to find a skill set. But then it's like, if that's the case, then, you know, we have a bunch of college grads out here with master degrees that can't find work. So now what do you do? You know what I mean? I know a guy, man, he was like a physicist, and he had a master's degree in physics, and he couldn't do shit. Like, I know a nigga on the block that got nothing. It's like doing better than him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's fucked up. You know, we just live in a wicked world, man. This shit is all crazy out here. So I just think that we at the point now where entrepreneurship is at its all-time high, and you got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to necessarily go to the streets. You know, it's a dude like yourself, you know what I'm saying, who figured it out. You just got to figure it out here. And I just wish that I would have figured it out at that time, so my homie could have still been alive, man, for real.
Absolutely. Now, when you got into the drug game at 15 and stuff like that, like, how deep into it were you? Were you just, basically just, slanging shit on the corner, or did you ever get to a higher state?
Nah, basically, I was playing the building. You know what I'm saying? Like I was one of them people. Like, cause in my hood, we didn't sit on no corners in my hood. You know what I'm saying? We always played the building in the cribs and shit like that. Shout out to all the fiends that allowed me to hustle in their crib. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I was, we did that, you know what I'm saying? And we never really, it never really grew beyond, a couple ounces, you know what I'm saying? 2 ounces, 3 ounces and stuff like that. It never really grew beyond that, but, we was there.
What do you think was your biggest loss? I mean, apart from your friend dying, of course, but what do you think was your biggest loss in the drug game? Because that's a game that, I dabbled in very slightly, and I realized like I'm not built for this shit.
Right.
Because motherfuckers is ripping each other off way too quickly.
All the time. I never, it probably wasn't the biggest thing I probably had to deal with sometimes is like, you getting work from certain people and it's not good, or it's like wet. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that sold crack before, they know like wet work is never good, man. And sometimes you get the shit too quick. It don't fully dry all the way, and you gotta try to let it dry, and shit like that. That's probably was the as far as like the drug itself making me have a loss with that. But, it's no greater loss than losing your loved ones and your friends, seeing your other homies going out of town and never returning, you know what I'm saying, and getting locked up doing all this time, you know what I'm saying. Shout out to my dude Khan, you know what I'm saying, and people like that. So it's kind of messed up.
Now, you had mentioned that you were part of the lowlifes?
Nah, I never was a member of the lowlifes, you know what I'm saying. I'm definitely a low head. You know what I mean? I always, that's just one of my things. My hobbies is like collecting polo, like especially old polo and stuff like that. Stuff between like maybe like 87 to maybe 2000. That's like my range right there. So yeah, shout out to all the low heads and all the low lives out there in the world, man. We have fun. This is like it's like its own subculture within itself. I still meet up with dudes back blocks and making trades and. You know what I'm saying? Buying stuff, shout out to my dude, Polo Pirate. Shout out to C's Low. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shout out to them.
Are the lowlifes still around? Because I remember they were huge in the 80s. But then I remember like the big thing with the lowlifes is that these dudes would come in 100 deep into like a department store, punch out the security guard, and take like
everything.
Like every polo fucking object in the store to the point where some major department store had to go out of business because they just got robbed too many times.
Yeah, like, they definitely still around. They still meet up and stuff like that too. They still get up together. You see people like Rack Low, Thurston Howell, they Prince Low. They still having meetups. Like we just did like a shout out to my Riz. We did a low trade show not that long ago where you got all these old polo collectors and they selling pieces, trading pieces. It's about a couple hundred people there. You know what I mean? So they definitely still around. It's just now the booster has changed to the credit card scammer. You know what I'm saying? Now you don't gotta knock the guy out. You go in there, swipe everything, and then you come back to the hood and you got it for half price. You know what I mean? So yeah, the game just changed. That's all.
What do you think about the whole situation?
Man, my point of view, man, I really feel like they tried to paint a bad picture on my brother and tried to make him look like he was a hater. It was some envy, jealousy type shit, you know what I'm saying? And actuality, you know what I'm saying? Bro been having this shit, man. He been in the condo.
I got my hat on and I had my Coke bottles up under my hat. And I'm sitting at the dinner table like an asshole with the hat on, knowing she gonna tell me to take it off. And I'm just sitting there just gawping down, in my zone. She said, take that goddamn hat off at the dinner table. I'm like, come on, Mom. Coke everywhere.